This is the Coming Home Podcast with John Allen. And welcome, everybody, to this episode of the Coming Home Podcast with John Allen. I am your mobile host, John Allen. I had to travel to this gentleman, but it was well worth it. Zahid Ali.
Hello.
How you doing, my friend?
Oh, very good. Thank you.
You, if people could see us now, we do not look very newsworthy.
No.
I don't know about you, but I spent half of my day so far in bed, and I just kind of roused myself up to get down here. So now the productivity begins for me.
So, yeah, we're basically in a Turkish closed restaurant, and
Yeah,
it's two bit dark, shady guys sitting and having a secret recording, and there are lots of police cars driving outside. I don't know if did you notice the bomber planes that
Yes,
flew?
I did.
Yeah?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
It was almost right outside my house. It was a parachute jumping exercise, but now it's there is a army camp. For special forces.
Can I say to the listeners what city we're in? Is it okay? You don't want these maniacs to know where you live, or is that okay?
No, it's okay.
We're in the
I'm just afraid of the army guys.
Well, you're protected. They're here now.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in the fine city of Horten, which is about an hour, not even an hour, about 45 minutes drive away from me. So I went mobile to come down here and talk to you. I've been looking forward to this, Zahid.
Yeah. Since you're, what do you call it? You're mentioning the long drive for the third time now, so for me it sounds like you're saying this better be important or interesting.
Actually, maybe that is a subconscious thought of mine. I didn't think of it that way, but you might be right. No, but in all honesty, I've really been looking forward to this. I think you're an interesting guy. You were literally, besides Jon Jarda, you were literally the first comic in Norway that I spoke to. Do you remember that night? It was my very first night.
Oh, yeah, in Drammen.
Yes,
yeah.
And I walked in, and you were the first one to, I don't know, you said something very basic like, who am I? And I told my story briefly about being new instead.
Yeah, I remember that. Remember you were being a bit nervous, but at the same time, you also said that you were
excited. I was
excited, but also that you were familiar with the. Well, but because you were a musician
so you used to being on stage.
I didn't quite get what you were nervous about. Was it some language stuff?
Yeah, because like I said,
I have now.
Yeah, how's it feel?
It's not comfortable.
Really?
Yeah, but no, you are a comfortable person to talk to.
But the language,
but it's I have to. I feel like I'm a little bit kind of retarded in the way I speak. I have this delay that I don't have, of course, when I speak Norwegian.
But that's interesting that you say that. Now I'm fluent in Norwegian, but there is always, as you say, it's almost like a little delay because I have to get the thoughts together in my head before I speak it. But,
and no matter what you ask me about, I will have that delay. How are you? And I will have this retard delay.
Well, see, you shouldn't have said anything. I could have blamed it on my mixer. There's a delay in the mixer. What was I going to say? What I was nervous for. I was nervous. The language. I didn't know how the audience would take it with me speaking in English, but it went fine. They didn't throw rotten tomatoes at me. So
no, that's good. And they never do in Norway.
They never. They're very polite.
Yeah, in a way, and which is also bad. That if you like me, I've been. You present a television concept to TV channel.
Yeah.
They never say it's bad. They say, yeah, very good, even though they don't like it. And you just wait for almost a year. And you find out through other people that they didn't like the idea and they didn't go further with it.
Yeah, that is my experience in Norway as well. I'm a 51-year-old man. I know people. I have introspection, so I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm bad at. I've done sets that I know are terrible.
Yeah.
And then people come up to me and say, "Oh man, that was fantastic."
Great. Can we be friends?
I think that's a very Norwegian thing.
Yeah. With, of course, some, what do you call it? I have to find the Norwegian. Now I'm forgetting the Norwegian also. With some unntak, exceptions.
Exceptions.
But mostly, you do a show and you can even have your closest friends and you ask them what do you think, and they'll try to find a diplomatic way to, they're afraid that everything will go over their relationship.
But do you think you could ask another stand-up comic and get an honest answer? I know in the States they're brutal with each other. They'll tell if you suck, they'll tell you. But do you think in Norway they'll be honest with you? It is a little different with stand-up comics.
I think they'll be honest with you if you suck, but if you're very good, you won't get any clap on the shoulders. They'll say that it's okay.
That's that Jantaloen thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, with many exceptions.
Sure, yeah, many exceptions. Yeah, exceptions. But I've made a career out of this podcast about talking a lot of shit about Norwegians. So let's just say what's on our heart.
So the best thing I think is just to have a dictaphone.
Well. You mean as far as practicing your material?
No, just to record it, and you can sit home and listen to it with a very objective perspective.
Besides the microphone, my iPhone is my best piece of equipment. I record everything I do, and although it is hard to get that,
but this conversation also.
This conversation also, I tell you, this is going to be hitting the airwaves. I think I'm going to release this. A lot sooner than I thought. Here's something that's interesting about you that I think is interesting about you. You're not just a stand-up comedian. You are also very much involved in television. You are a writer,
and
are you not?
Philanthropist.
Philanthropist, yeah. Now, let's talk about your philanthropy first. I was going to get to that a little later, but let's talk about that because that is an interesting aspect of you. That
it was a joke from my side. I think it's. I've done some charity work.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's been some of those things have been a bit blown out of proportions.
Oh,
because
how so?
I had the right comedians and TV personalities to do the charity, and many of the audience and the press hadn't seen that collaboration before. He got that old school comedian and to collaborate with this new. That's interesting. And you know what happened? The biggest charity stuff that I did was for an earthquake in Pakistan, and I met the ambassador in the embassy.
Yeah.
And
the
Pakistani embassy in Oslo. I thought that since I have a Pakistani background, and I thought that I have two coffees. Thank you.
Yes.
That I have an opportunity to maybe do something good without using too much energy, just to have a show. And I did this show, and but before the show, I invited the Pakistani ambassador to come and watch the show, and I told him about what I was going to do. So I met him at his office, and when I came inside, I had to wait for an hour or two almost just to get in. He was a busy man, and he was very American influenced guy.
Oh, okay.
He had like a Mexican American maybe. He had cowboy boots, and was smoking a cigar, and it was like a Texas temperature inside. It was very hot. And he had he looked like Cheech Marin, Cheech
Marin,
like the mustache from and oily face and hair backwards.
Yes.
And if I'm not wrong, it's many years ago. I'm wondering if he had not a cowboy hat, but something in between a cowboy hat and a Panama hat.
Interesting.
And he was sitting there and with gold rings on all of his fingers.
So he was all Texased out.
Yeah, plus a bit something exotic, a mixture of Joe Exotic from the Tiger King, if you make a Pakistani out of him, and some Texas, and very with the hands behind his head, and he was talking about this. And the first thing he said before I even had the opportunity to tell him why I was there, he said that he was very fond of some specific restaurants in Oslo, which had very good Indian food, and he'd heard about it.
Yeah.
So he said that, maybe you could take me out, me and my friends out there.
The ambassador.
Yeah, and I didn't understand what do you mean take you out. I didn't ask him there because he had very much control of the situation, kind of, and I had to wait 2 hours. So I think that what I came up with was that he's so used to favors
Right, I see.
So before I even asked for the favor, he just, take me out to these restaurants and buy drinks
yes
and stuff to everybody, and we'll talk about it.
So did you?
No, I said, yeah, sure, but I have something. Yeah. But that restaurant, I love, the curry, and it's very good. So I like to go there. You will take me there? Yeah, sure. But I have this charity. Yeah. But I can bring my friends. Okay.
You know what I'm laughing at now? When you speak English, you speak English like a Norwegian speaks English, and that's no insult. But now you just imitated the Pakistani ambassador, and you spoke typical Pakistani English.
Oh, okay.
You switched over
without any Norwegian accent.
You sounded like a Pakistani speaking English.
Oh,
well, there's the actor in you.
Or maybe that's the English I actually speak, but I'm acting when I speak.
Am I influencing you?
Since I'm Norwegian.
Now,
I just decided I did my heritage a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, yeah,
just to find out what was going on, and what I found out was very what do you call it? I was surprised because I'm 10% Scandinavian.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, so I didn't see that coming.
Okay.
It was 90% South Asia, this and that, and suddenly it was look to the left. What? All Norway is red.
I always wonder how much trust people should put in those heritage, those DNA things, because sometimes it's just.
You think they're just sitting there? Oh, there's a guy from Norway.
I wonder if it's something like that.
Let's give him 10% Chinese. Yeah, that's fun. And 55% South African. They're just guessing.
Just for the heck of it, yeah.
Yeah. And they're earning. There's
a lot of money.
It's a big business.
Sure, there's a lot of money in it. But I just question the truthfulness of that. Yeah. I've never done that. I should do that and see where because people here in Norway, and this is pretty funny to me. They don't know what to make of me. Norway, as you know, is used to if you've got dark brown skin, they assume you're from Africa.
Yeah.
But I don't have dark brown skin. I'm kind of off, like a brown. Hold that arm up. We're not that far.
We should see a psychiatrist.
We should see a psychiatrist.
You've seen that The Jerk with Steve Martin?
Yes, I have.
When is it? What? I'm not. This color don't go off.
It doesn't wipe off. No, so they don't know what to make of me. I've had people tell me they think I'm a Pacific Islander.
Oh.
But then I've also had people who tell me that I should just admit, and I put that in air quotes, admit that I'm African. I'm not African. I'm from the United States.
Yeah.
I'm American. So this whole thing with.
But you don't call yourself African American or Afro American, or
if I have to hyphenate it, I just say I'm a Black American. I don't feel anything against people who use the term African American. I know that somewhere down my lineage, someone was brought from Africa to the United States as a slave.
Yeah.
But I don't know who that was. I don't know where that connection is. So I don't feel that day to day.
You don't want to incorporate that in your personality.
Well, that sounds maybe a little harsh because I don't want it to feel like, screw them Africans. I don't want nothing to do with them. It's not that. But I don't feel that. I'm American. I'm a Black American. That's the way I look at it.
So you don't have any Africa continent tattoos on the back?
No, my wife does though.
She does?
No, I'm just kidding. That's a bad joke against my wife. She suffers a lot in my stand-up routine.
She does.
She does.
Everybody suffers, or everything. Or stand-up is. I think the definition of a joke is. To say something bad about something or someone. So someone or something will always
Have
suffer.
you ever felt like you go too far in your comedy? Like you?
Oh, yeah. I've gone too far many times, and I have...
Can you give me an example?
I have a lot of examples that I have been... I have much death threats and almost 2,000 or 3,000 complaints with...
2,000 or 3,000
with a subtitle. What do you call it? Is it a threat or is it?
Where people.
But most from television. I used to make a lot of skits and stuff which were about cultural and religion and everything that was what do you call it, selvhøytidelig.
Like self-important.
Self-important, yeah. Everything that was serious to someone, I used to, even if it was a news reader. Here are the headlines. Oh, wow, so serious. Yeah. Let's see how serious you are now. And
exactly, well, what made me first admire you, now this is going way back to maybe 2005 or 2006, if I remember correctly.
How long have you been?
I've been here since 2002.
Oh,
2002, okay. Yeah. This is around 2005, and you did that, the shoemaker skit, which as the Norwegians know, it is my wife grew up watching the old shoemaker, a white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed old man Norwegian guy. Yeah. So it became a Norwegian tradition, and then here you come and you put a ghettoized, brown skin twist on the whole thing, which I thought was bravely done. Now, my wife, she said hi to you earlier, but she was pissed when you did that.
And so was the original actor from the old series.
Yes, I heard about it.
Sent me kind of another death threat. He was 80 years old, but he said that, he wrote a handwritten letter that he didn't like what I was making, and I could see that he was very angry because every place there were dots,
Yes.
And there were a hole in the paper.
Okay.
So I got the picture of that. He was very angry, and he died, I think, a year later. I don't know if it's because I killed him.
Killed the shoemaker.
I got that mail from him before the series was broadcasted.
Oh, really? He just heard about it.
He just heard about it.
Oh, my
goodness. I think people were a bit pushing him. What do you think about that idea? And it's coming soon. Don't you think you should do anything?
People are allowed to be different, but I would take that as such an honor if someone from another generation with another racial identity, a different background, took this and parodied it, because there is a certain amount of honor that you're giving him.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's and I was and still am a big fan of not only his series, but also him as an actor back in the days.
He was very well known.
So very well known.
But I thought that was pretty ballsy. That was pretty brave of you to do that.
Yeah,
so hats off to you. That's what made me. That's when I first.
And round about that time, I threatened to blow the new opera in the skies.
Wait a minute! I didn't hear about that
on TV. So the guy in the reception, he got psychological problems, and it was the police came in.
You've got to be kidding me!
We got a big fine, both me and the production company and the TV channel, and was a front page of all the news.
That was with TV2, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
I think I remember that now.
That is maybe one of the bigger things, but I've done lots of hidden camera stuff that has been too little family oriented, because many of the comic programs that I was in was for the whole family show. Yeah. And sometimes I had a guy with a shotgun running after me because he didn't understand that I was playing around.
Just a joke,
and everything was cut away because it's not good for the whole family to. So when Borat came in 2006 or something, I've done stuff like that for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
that were
pre-Borat.
Pre-Borat, but everything was cut away. So,
do you think Norwegians take themselves too seriously? Do you think I have this thing that I tell people. I tell my wife when we argue about or discuss these kind of things. Yeah, we argue. When we argue about these kind of things, I tell her I don't understand why Norwegians tend to be so paranoid about losing their culture.
Yeah.
Because I think that their culture is so prominent, it's so strong, it's so clearly defined. Yeah. I wonder, what do they have to fear?
Yeah.
That's my opinion. It's a compliment to them, to their culture.
Yeah, I agree.
But I guess I'm kind of, kicking them in the nuts when it comes to their paranoia.
Yeah.
Because I don't understand why they fear that. Do you think that they're too sensitive?
Oh yeah, sure, most definitely.
Now you say that as someone who, are you?
Yeah, I'm born here.
Yeah. So you say that as a Norwegian, you were born here, but you say that Norwegians are too sensitive. Now, do you feel yourself somewhat outside of the mainstream Norwegian culture?
No, I actually don't. I feel very much not only a part of the Norwegian culture as a performing comic, but I don't understand the sensitivity that's so strong.
But I don't think that's exclusive to you with your Pakistani background. I think a lot of Norwegians from our generation and younger are starting to think the same way. You know, they're starting to lighten up. They're starting to have a more of a world view on things. It's the older people maybe that are afraid of people like you and I and our thoughts and things.
Oh, if you think about that sensitivity regarding dark people.
That's part of it. That's part of it.
That I think is that's more the influence of religion. I think.
You think so?
From
you think so?
non-West countries that I think they're afraid of.
I think I can agree with that to a certain extent, because a lot of people I see, they visibly relax when they ask me where I'm from, and I say I'm from the United States.
Yeah, sure.
They're like, oh,
even
okay.
I do. What's up, brother?
What's up, brother? Hello.
Oh no, sure, for sure I do. If you said you came just right from Afghanistan 2 months ago, it would be a totally different kind of conversation.
Well, but I think we have
because of the prejudice.
Sure, absolutely. But I think, just to criticize Norway just for a little bit longer, I think that Norway would do themselves well by just relaxing.
Yeah.
Because I don't see any threat to their culture. I've been here for 20 years almost.
Yeah.
I don't see the threat that I consistently hear people talking about.
Are you religious?
I'm Christian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Born and raised in the church.
Yeah. Okay.
Far from fanatic. I'm not going to try and convert you.
I'll
just let you go to hell. I'm not gonna
yeah.
Are you
I'm an atheist.
You're an atheist.
And because I'm an atheist, and one can hear it not directly, but if you talk to me for an hour like you're doing now, when I talk to people, you'll understand the way I...
Sure.
It's very non-religious talk. So I've never had any hassle with Norwegians regarding your background in Pakistan, because I'm an atheist. But I have friends that are
Muslim and show it and practice it, and
that's a totally different.
That's a different reception,
and difficult for them as well, because they're not going to stop believing or because that's what you believe. And me too. I've been times where I thought maybe I should just find a religion and settle down, and but I can't. It's
not something that anyone. I don't know. I guess the biggest.
It's hard to fake it.
Well, it's very hard to fake it, and along those lines, it just amazes me that people, whether you're Christian, Muslim, Hindu, or whatever, people who are very strongly evangelical and try to convert people, and then talk shit about them when they don't allow themselves to be converted. I don't understand it, because you are hardly a good projection of your religion when you get to that point.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So you're safe. I'm not going to try and convert you.
No, so of course, religion and culture goes hand in hand.
I think so,
especially in the poorer countries.
It does. Well, even in the United States, you have your religious right, and they are very often quite wealthy, and yet they still project that almost fanatical type of religion, that fanatical type of Christianity. But I get what you're saying. The poorer the country is, the more likely they are to be.
And the racism is, if you can say racism in the eyes of the goose, what's the expression?
Racism in the eyes of the goose. What would the English interpretation of that be?
In the cursive, per se, is that a word? Goose eyes.
Goose eyes. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You say goose eyes?
Yeah.
Or is it another bird you use?
No, we say goose
American
eyes.
eyes of the American eagle.
From the eagle eyes.
Perspective. It's cultural very much. And in Norway especially, it's African countries and some Middle Eastern countries, especially Somalia and those countries who are Muslims and have a very special way of practicing Islam, for example. But in the United States, the Somalis are, in my opinion, the ones who are doing it very well.
I touched on this in my stand-up routine about how the Somalis in the States are just almost the polar opposite of what people think the Somalis in Norway are.
Yeah.
And I say what people think because there's not everything people think about Somalis in Norway is true.
No,
yes, they do have their issues.
Yeah. Sure.
Shout out to my brothers, don't kill me. But in the United States, it's quite different. They're very successful. They go into business for themselves. But I wonder how much of that is...
But why do you think it's like that,
well,
if it's true?
I was going to say, I wonder how much of that is because America... you hear things about Donald Trump and racism in the States, but I think in general, the United States by far is more accepting of new religions, new cultures, different races than Norway is. So I think that's it. I think in America, they are met with more open arms than they are met with here in Norway.
Yeah, and another version is that Americans do a lot of cherry picking. So they pick the ones who they think
that's true. That is a very interesting element.
And
to
here
the whole
it's
immigration thing. Norway takes pretty much any.
Yeah, how many gracious. Are you? 15? Okay,
come on in.
Get in the bus.
Yeah, they're a lot more gracious in their immigration policy. That is very true. America is more selective.
Yeah,
absolutely. Huh.
And also in everything, in sports, you do it good in your sports gym class or something. They pick you up and you. Develop you.
Yeah.
But here it's opposite. If you're good here, you're sent to work with the ones who are not so good, so that everybody is equal.
Well, and also in the United States.
Do you understand my English?
Oh, absolutely. You're doing good, man.
Okay, thanks.
You're doing good. Much better than Jon Jarde.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about him behind his back and hope he doesn't listen to this.
But he didn't talk in his podcast. He just said yes or no.
I think... I lost track of what I was going to say.
You're talking about that you were originally from Pakistan.
I'm originally from Pakistan.
There are lots of prejudice. Did you take My Heritage?
No,
you tested it?
No, I haven't done that. That's something that I would like to do. I do know that we have Native American in our family. We have Irish. My great-grandfather was a 6-foot-tall, red-haired Irishman.
Oh. Do you have any red hair on your body?
Well, I have a beautiful strip going down. No, but my children have reddish tints in their hair. Yeah,
they have.
Yeah, and my daughter is white as any. She has dark hair, and her facial features, of course.
Curly hair or straight hair?
Straight.
Okay.
Yeah. So and her skin is as white as any Norwegian. My son is more brown. He's obviously.
How many children do you have?
I have one in the United States. She's 28.
28?
9. Wow. 29, thank you. And I have a 14-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old son.
Wow.
Here in Norway.
So you have one with
one with an X.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I had a son who passed. He passed away, heroin overdose.
Oh.
That was from my first marriage, and he passed away in November of 2019.
How old?
He was 24. 24. Terrible. Yeah. Thank you. I'm working through it. This podcast is part of my therapy. I try to pull in people. Here you go. Here's a compliment for you. Let's see how Norwegian you are. Let's see how you take compliments. I try to bring in guests who I think are, first of all, they have to be exciting to me. There has to be something interesting about them. But I also bring them in because they motivate me in one way or another. Because it doesn't look like it. I'm not in tears, but I'm extremely depressed since losing my son. So I'm looking for motivation. And
how did Jon Jarde motivate you? Well, or did you get more depressed? I hope.
Felt horrible. There's been an uphill climb after Jon Jarde. And I'm talking mess about him because he is the MC for all of the comedy nights, and he said that one of the funniest things that I heard on stage. He was, he did his little routine where he was talking about he was moving, and he had a bunch of black black plastic bags full of garbage, and then he just flowed right into it when he was going to introduce me, and he says, "Yes, and speaking of black bags full of garbage, here's John." So that was one of the funniest things that I've ever heard. I went to the microphone laughing from his joke that he said on me. So this is my revenge. Let's just we're gonna trash you.
That's some intro. Yeah,
no, but I invited you on because you motivate me in that fearlessness that you have as an actor, your different TV sketches, especially the Shoemaker sketch series that you did, and because of your fearlessness as a stand-up, but also your heart, the gathering of the money, the benefit that you did for the earthquake victims.
Yeah, that was the story. That was what we were talking about.
Yes.
So, now I established ambassador as a bad guy. And he was, because when I gathered the money, I put the money in the envelope because he wanted cash. And I didn't think of it at that time. I just thought, because this was a presidential account number and this and that, and he talked about it as if it was a count number with a line which goes up to the sky and to another planets, and it's all the corrupt hands will never reach.
So
but you give me the money in this
one of those
envelope. Yeah, and I gave him a couple of 100,000 kroners.
Wow.
Which is for the American listeners, it's 10 hours. That's a 10-hour break, and 2 years later, it's about $20,000.
About 20,000.
Yeah, 22, 23. Thousand.
And you just handed it to him.
Yeah, I handed it to him, and he said, "Great." And how about that dinner? Yeah, sure. Yeah, now maybe I can, take you out.
But he probably wasn't kidding.
No. So I gave him the money, and I thought that I've done my job, so I have no other jurisdiction to check anything.
It's out of your hands.
Yeah, and it was all over the press and lots of media attention around it. So I thought, okay, and finished. And suddenly, 2 or 3 years later, I was driving my car, and I lived in Oslo at that time, and I think I was having a show in Kristiansand, which is about 6 hours ride. Yeah. And while I was driving, I always think the best, all my ideas, stand-up ideas, comes from the shower or driving or doing something.
Those moments,
with the police running after me or something. When I'm not thinking.
with machine guns chasing you.
And I just thought, hey, the money from that charity show, where did that go? Because I had a kind of a deal with him that keep me updated, because he said, or his guys said that, we're going to use this money to make a specific school at that area.
Okay.
So we can send you pictures and stuff. And I made a deal with him, a kind of a partial deal, that could you write in the names of all the comedians who have contributed on one of the walls. It would be funny to have Norwegian names on the wall up in Kashmir, just for the fun of it. Yeah. And it would be fun for my colleagues to see pictures with Pakistani children up in the Himalaya mountains and their names on the wall, which is not photoshopped. And but I didn't hear anything from him, and I was too busy doing shows and TV stuff, so I didn't.
Kind of lost track of what was going on. Yeah.
And I remember I called my manager at that time and I asked her, have you heard anything from them? And she said, no, I haven't. Haven't you? No, I haven't heard anything.
How much time had gone?
I'm lying when I'm saying 3 years. I think it was 7 or 8 years.
Okay, that long. Yes.
That was the first time I thought, what happened to that? Where's the school? I'd love to see the pictures, and it's maybe finished till now and well used. So no, and the first thing I did was that what do you call it in Norwegian is expression that it's owls in the moose. That doesn't work in English. It's fishy, something fishy.
Something fishy. Yeah.
Is that?
That's it. Yeah.
I've heard that expression in lots of 80s movies.
Yeah.
And not so much later, but
we
fishy.
Still use it. Still use it. Yeah.
So I had. So I got a little angry also, and I
because that's kind of your reputation on the line.
Yeah, sure. So what I did, I took some phones, and I found out that ambassador had been dead for 3 or 4 years, died of something. It was partially mysterious. I don't know if I don't think it was because of that money, but he's dead. And there was another person after him, and he had troubles with some there was outside the embassy, there was a, what do you call it, a demonstration?
Yeah.
A demonstration, of course. Yeah. And he'd gone out and had a fist fight with one of the demonstrators.
The ambassador.
Yeah, which is a very bad advertisement for the Pakistani embassy. And that was shown on the news. And that was shown on the news after he'd said, no, I didn't go outside the embassy. And the TV reporter said, okay, of course you didn't. Now watch the news at 6 o'clock, and maybe you've been sleepwalking outside and knocked the shit out of these guys.
How embarrassing is that?
So lots of scandals happened. And then I came up with an idea that how fun it would be to make a documentary of it all, like a Michael Moore kind of documentary, where I stand outside, where is the money? And make so there are 2-3 companies who are very interesting to make a documentary about following the money.
Okay.
Where what I did, and I just follow the money.
What a great concept!
And
there's a story there. People would be interested in that.
And that's I would the NRK, the Norwegian,
the national television.
They want to make a serious documentary about it, and I would but I would like to have a little more humor, more like Michael Moore kind of hour.
You got to put some humor in. Of course, it's a serious subject, but you're allowed to hit it with humor. That's what we do.
Yeah, and the possibility to meet a lot of people and not have this 60 minutes conversation.
Now, would you fear for your safety after doing something like that? I don't. Pakistan has this. Gosh, I'm going to piss off. I'm going to piss off every Pakistani in Norway. But they have this reputation for being very. They have a low tolerance for critique. That's the reputation. Would you be afraid? Would you be nervous about doing a documentary like that?
I don't think they have a low tolerance for critique, but that's that's where's my English? That's regarding religion.
Okay, okay.
That's my experience, but everything else they are totally.
Pakistanis can laugh.
But Pakistanis
they have a sense of humor.
Many years ago. I saw a guy in a shopping mall laughing from Pakistan, and it was fantastic to see. No, I think
first and last.
They have a lot of humor. The problem, of course, is which is many Asian and African countries, irony.
Yes,
they don't get it.
They don't get that.
They think that what you're saying is what you mean.
Yeah.
They don't.
And that
get
is a cultural
that
thing.
It means an opposite. That's a cultural thing.
That's a cultural thing.
And Norway, especially, are very known for their, or like to be known for their irony, and that's the first icebreaker when a Norwegian he says something stupid about the other guy, and he slams back. And,
with that irony,
and if you don't get the irony, then you'd. And that's where lots of misunderstandings also are between Norwegians and foreigners. For a Pakistani, hey, what's wrong with your face, asshole? Hey, I'm just being ironic.
So that would be a very interesting documentary. I hope that hits the TV screens soon. Yeah. That would be very interesting. Is that the biggest project that you have coming up, or do you have other things in the air?
I'm writing a book. Comedy crime book. That's my and I have a lot of big projects that I can't tell you about, not because they're so secret, but also that there's a chance they don't become something. But I was just thinking of something that I just, American movies, you never, when they say shit to each other, they never comment the other person's looks, how the person look like. They can say, hey, you asshole, you motherfucker, this and that, not hey, what's wrong with your nose, Barbara Streisand, or they're not so, they don't go to the actor's face or comment that someone is ugly, and if they want to make an ugly Betty, they find a nice looking girl and do makeup on her.
That always bothered me with that ugly Betty thing, because she's really good looking.
But they would never actress? Hey, you're ugly, could you play the main character in this series? And they never do that. But the closest I've got was 10 years ago. I saw a movie with Lorenzo Lamas, and a guy came to him and said, nice shoes, sorry about the face. And there was a close-up of Lorenzo Lamas' face where you could see that reaction wasn't written in the story. It was something he took very personally.
Yes.
Because then he did an Oscar reaction.
No, there's a certain amount of fakeness in Hollywood that I do not see in Norway. To me, the acting world, the what I know of the comedy world, it's more real. It's more, it can be your next door neighbor. Just the fact that I have access to sit down and talk with you, and I've shared the stage with you and stuff. That blows my mind. Coming from an American point of view, it blows my mind to have that kind of access.
But you've been doing stand-up in the U.S.?
No, not at all.
No?
That night that I met you, it was in, I believe it was the 19th of March, 2019. That was my very first time ever doing stand-up.
But as a musician, you...
now that I've been doing for over 20 years.
But you do talk through the mic. Next song is...
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a talker. It's my solo project, so I'm the front figure. So I do a lot of talking and tie the songs together with a story and things like that.
What do you play, keyboard? Or?
I play keyboard, I play bass, play guitar, and I sing.
Wow.
Check me out on Spotify. Man.
Yeah, I'll do that. But I love your voice in the opening title. Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, that's
very
nice
one of my songs. Voice.
Yeah. Thank you.
And a kind of a very feminine, if I can say that.
Let's say soft.
Soft is my English,
yeah, and the delay is my mixer. Okay, yeah. No, it's
soft, kind of, but it's raspy. You can and it's a soft whiskey voice.
It is. I will admit I do have an unusual voice in that it does not not match my physical appearance.
Not at all.
Just as recently as 2 days ago, Ralph Molina he and I chatted. He's a drummer for Neil Young's band Crazy Horse. I'm working on getting him on this podcast.
Ralph Molina. It was
Molina.
Okay,
yeah. Molina. He told me that because before we were just chatting, typing. Yeah. But now I left him a voice message, and the first thing he said was, "Oh my God, is that what you sound like?" So I have to admit there's something with my voice, but I don't know. It is what it is.
Ralph Molina. It was sounded like a mixture of Pat Morita and Ralph Macchio, Karate Kid.
Yeah, but Ralph Molina. He's a old guy I think he's from Brooklyn or the Bronx. He lives out in California.
But you're from Chicago, right?
Well, I lived in Chicago. I was a police officer in the Chicago suburbs.
Yeah, I heard that. That's for me, that's very exotic.
Well, I think it was exotic too because I'm born and raised in Ohio. I'm a country boy.
Okay.
So to go from that to Chicago was a huge culture shock for me. That was a bigger shock to me than it was to come from the United States to Norway.
Okay.
Coming from my background in my hometown, I had been in the U.S. Marines, but that was kind of a sheltered existence in the military. That doesn't really count for social maturity. But coming from where I came in Ohio to Chicago was a huge change. It took me a little while to adjust, absolutely. And then not just to adjust, but to adjust to life as a police officer was, that's probably one of the proudest things I've ever done, adapting to that environment. And that kind of told me that moving to Norway will be just fine. And it was. I slid right into a good work environment, slid into...
How long was your police education, just for the Norwegian listeners?
Gosh, my goodness.
Compare with the Norwegian
Okay, first of all, I'm going to say that the way I was educated and then I got my practical learning experience, on-the-job training, if you will, was more than sufficient. So let me just begin with that. It was a 3-month-long police academy.
Okay.
And then after that, you can have up to 2 years of on-the-job training.
Okay.
Which I and many other police officers in the United States consider schooling.
Yeah, be out in the field.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas in Norway, they just look at those 3 months of the police academy.
Yeah.
And they think, oh my God, that's nothing. Well, if that was it, that would be nothing.
Yeah.
I feel that I am, if I can brag a little bit, I have the qualifications of any medium to top leader in any police house here in Norway. I worked with drugs, gangs. Here comes Snoopy. Hi, Snoopy. Crime scene technician and all. Kripos. That type of stuff. But people would just look at that 3-month police academy and think that it's BS. And
me.
Like you.
but did you apply for something, or is there any course you can do to
Like further learning, videreutdanning?
Yeah, or just incorporate that in the Norwegian crime system.
Well, no. If I were to start being a police officer here in Norway, I would have to start from the beginning. It's not.
I thought you were going to see from the top.
I'm not that
start
arrogant.
as a director.
I'm very confident, but not quite that arrogant. No, I would have to start from the beginning. But here's the kicker.
Do you think you now would the krav
the requirements?
The requirements, would you?
If I met the requirements, would I want to? Well, I don't think I would fit in the police system out on the streets in Norway. I just don't think I could do it. It's too different.
And boring? Nothing's happening?
Well...
Hey, what are you doing with that envelope?
I do believe that, and now some people would say this is a form of PTSD, but I do think that I would actually have a problem not having the level of excitement and action that I had back there in the suburbs.
So you play a lot of video games here in the...
I'd like to, but I'm not allowed. My wife says no.
So now it's bass and guitar.
Bass,
both
guitar,
hands.
podcasting, a lot of sleeping.
Yeah.
You got time? Do you have about how much time do you have?
You
got to run, don't you? You're an important guy.
I got some.
I'm waiting for your manager to come in here and tap me on the shoulder.
Oh no, it's no manager. It's we have some. Our neighbor has. We agreed on a fence between our.
Oh yeah.
And he is suddenly starting to plant trees over the. So I'm. I have to go and check him, but
neighbor feud. Make sure you guys agree on that stuff, because I tell you, when your kids inherit from you in about 20 years, all of a sudden that's when the arguments will come up if you don't have everything written in black and white. So, you have kids? Yeah,
I have two kids. Okay. One is 11 and the other is 6, a boy and a girl.
Okay, roughly the same. Well, mine are 14 and 12.
Yeah. But tell me something about your you were action guy in Chicago. Where you weren't afraid, or was the adrenaline level?
It was an adrenaline thing. It was an excitement thing. I was never afraid in the moment, but there were things that happened where afterwards I would get the shakes, and the emotion would come, or the fear would come, or the anger would come.
Okay,
the reactions would come afterwards, but in the moment, I was very confident, very secure in what I was doing. I never felt fear. Nervous, depending on the situation, yes, but fear.
I had a lot of that with your physical.
I was very confident physically. I was.
You look like a strong man. Still.
I have the Norwegian record for squat. Did you know that?
You do?
Yeah.
Wow.
The raw squat, utstyrsfritt, as it's called in Norway. 335.5. I did that when I was 49 years old. I'm sorry, 50 years old. I got that record.
Kilograms?
Yep, 350.
350?
I'm sorry, I've squatted 350 in training. The record is 335.5, which I got when I was 50.
How old are you now?
51.
Okay. Wow, well, that's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very proud of that.
350 kilograms.
In training.
Yeah.
I've done that. And then the record that I got at the competition was 335.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't even do that with a lift. It's
This is the strongest I've ever been. And at this age, to still be getting stronger, except for my shoulder. My shoulder is jacked. Forget bench and all that. I can't do that. But squatting and deadlifting, I'm still getting stronger. But back then, during my cop days, I was a bodybuilder. So I was very lean. You know, I didn't have a 6-pack. I had an 8-pack. I was...
But do you think the hobbies that you have, guitar and all that, is that a right projection for all that power? Or do you slam very hard on the bass?
No, if you listen to my music on Spotify, it's very laid back, mostly acoustic, with this soft feminine voice.
What do you do with all that power?
I training. You know, I train. Right now, I'm in a little bit of a slump with my training. I'm just having so much trouble with my shoulder. But in general, I have a consistent training routine. So I get it out then. I get it out in the writing process.
But when you train, you just get stronger and stronger. Don't you feel that you have this something that maybe is useful more than just lifting weights? Or
Well,
or do you work as a guard or something?
No,
never.
No. I have been offered to be a door guard, a bouncer in English. I've been offered that so many times, but I am so conflict shy. I just don't want to. I just don't like conflict. I keep myself away from that environment as much as I can. Okay. You will see when I do stand up or when I perform my music, as soon as possible, without being rude, I like to leave. Because with my size,
from the stage or from
the whole place, seriously. Because with my size, with my otherness as being a Black American, it attracts attention, and all too often it's negative attention. The tough guy, drunk guy who wants to fight.
You feel that way?
Maybe I'm a little paranoid.
Yeah.
Maybe I should.
I feel the opposite. That more like that attracts positive attention, especially when you say that you're an American and you did a TV show for some months ago.
I was on Good Morning Norway.
Yeah, what was that about? I didn't see it. I just saw a little clip.
That was from my podcast.
Okay.
That was from my podcast, episode 28. You know, all of the craziness going on back home in the States.
Yeah.
So on Saturdays, I do this thing. It's called Solo Saturday. And I just rant. I just talk about whatever I want.
Yeah.
So in episode 28, I spoke about the issues going on at home. And I challenged white people. Now, a lot of people got offended. But in my challenge to white people, it was not an aggressive challenge. It was an open-handed challenge. And it was basically this. I told them, I see that there are many white people in the streets protesting for equality under the law for Black people. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I challenge them to continue and to actively try and recruit even more white people, because I think that it's going to take the majority of white people to get on board in order for change to happen. Because we've been protesting for 400 years. And it's still not equal.
But you were a guest in that show as American ex-police officer, or?
Yes, I was. Yeah. That was the premise on that show, that I was an American ex-police officer with a podcast addressing that issue here in Norway.
But you have a lot of listeners, or how did they just
I have a lot of listeners. Yeah, they
find you?
I don't know. I don't know. But they were extremely professional. TV too, as you know, is so professional. I think I had daily conversations for almost a couple weeks with their producers.
They're telling you what to say?
No, but asking me questions, almost like a pre-interview.
Yeah, just to find out where.
Because I think
and to make the programmer hosts look smarter.
Well, hats off to Desta, the host there. She's the one that put these producers up because she was very interested in my case. So she had these producers calling me almost every day for like 10 days, 2 weeks before I went on the show. So I was very well prepared, and that got me a lot of exposure. I have a lot of listeners now because of that.
Oh, okay.
So you're
Yeah, I'm one of them, and I'm a guest in your show because of that.
So you are almost as important as me. He's smiling, everybody, as he sharpens his pen. Is it Pakistanis who have that curved blade? No, that's Saudi Arabia. That's Arab.
Yeah, I think the whole Middle East.
All of them.
All of them from Turkey and to China, where they have what do they have there? Teeth.
Well, in Japan,
they just bite. They don't use.
They just bite. No, so
that was my biting. Do you think there will be coming COVID-20?
You know what?
I saw a Wuhan video with the party video.
Did you see that? Yeah. I don't know if that's a little too soon, I think.
Yeah, me too. Especially that kind of party where everybody were in the pool
and drinking and all up on each other.
Yeah, I loved the music though. I thought, wow, that's a great DJ.
I was surprised.
But it was a kind of Armageddon kind of music. The world's going down.
I heard darkness in it.
Yeah, a lot of darkness
in that. Yeah. No, I think it's a little too soon. I don't think that Norway has seen the last of COVID. We have handled this very well. Yeah. But I think we're going to have another round. I don't think our kids are going to be in school for too much longer.
No.
That's my prediction.
Yeah, I agree.
Are you okay with that, though? I am.
Yeah, sure. I'm
having the kids at home and things slowing down a little bit.
Yeah, it's slowing down a bit, but my experience with my kids, or my kid who is only in school, the other is in kindergarten, that he is not paying so much attention in school. He thinks stuff is boring and all that. And,
I see.
And he's not giving his fully potential. But when we had homeschool, the teacher said that he's giving 100%.
Okay.
He's doing everything as he should do, and there's no interference and stuff from outside. It's just
is that because
me.
of good parenting?
Yeah, or strict parenting. No, he was, and he liked it too.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he liked it.
Our kids did well with the homeschool, and I think especially. Well, I don't want to hang my kids out there, but both of them did well.
Yeah.
Surprisingly well, I have to admit I was nervous because it was such a new thing, but almost right away I saw it was going to be better.
Yeah.
And I, as a parent, felt more involved because I was there. I work from home, so I felt like I was more involved.
Yeah, me too. And I felt now he's in 5th grade or 6th now, but 5th grade was okay with me. I was in a comfort zone.
Yeah.
I don't know how good I will do it. Are you smarter than a 5th grader? Is that a show?
Barely.
Yeah.
Barely.
But it's lots of new stuff now that
I'm smarter than Jon Jarde.
Yeah. Are you smarter than Jon Jarde?
Back to him again. I love you, Jon Jarde.
But that joke about the garbage
that was a good
stuff,
one, wasn't
it? Good regarding that. I don't think. Do you think he had any clue of what he was saying, or do you think?
I don't think he planned it. It seemed to be extremely spontaneous.
Yeah.
And as he was walking away from the mic, he was laughing as well. That told me it wasn't rehearsed. It told me that he just. Speaking of a big black bag full of garbage,
a Michael Richards kind of undertone to it, or
which I think is quite okay.
Yeah.
As much as I talk about,
he
race,
got a lot of attention after that.
He did, yeah.
Improv.
Well, I think Michael Richards was out of line. But joking about race and skin color and culture, I am all for it.
Yeah,
I do believe that comedy should put a light on the things that are difficult for society.
Yeah,
and those discussions are difficult, so I try to laugh my way through it with people. So,
but it's the first. Was it a racial joke?
What that
Jon Jarde?
No, his joke had nothing. The original joke, he was. I can't remember all the details, and I don't want to ruin it for people who haven't heard it. But he was basically just talking about moving from a house and gathering up things in his house, and that whole story was funny. And then as he finished up, just out of nowhere, he says, "Yes." And speaking of black bags full of crap, here's John Allen. It just fit.
Yeah.
It just fit. So, way to go, Jon Jarde.
And I heard the last podcast with you and Jon, and you're. It sounds like you're a big fan of his.
Well, I owe my stand-up career here in Norway to him. He is the one that opened the door for me, so he'll always be like an uncle to me within stand-up. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, Uncle Jon. I don't know if he'll admit that. The illegitimate black son. I don't know.
That black garbage guy.
The black garbage guy. Hi, Snoopy. How you doing over there?
So Snoopy, I thought Snoopy is a dog name, but is that her pet name?
But you know why I call her Snoopy? Because I met her when I was living in Chicago.
Yeah.
A Norwegian friend that we have in common introduced us.
Oh.
And we were at the gym training, me and this other Norwegian woman that she knows, and my wife, who then I didn't even know, she walks in the gym, and this other Norwegian woman yells out, "Hi, Snuppa."
Wow.
Which, for those of you who don't speak Norwegian, Snuppa is Norwegian for like sweetheart or baby or darling. And I knew she didn't say Snoopy, but me being silly, I walk up to my wife and I said, "Oh yeah, hi Snoopy, nice to meet you. My name is John." And that's the first sentence I said to her.
Does she have any pet name for you?
Black motherfucker.
Black garbage bag waste.
No, she calls me sweetheart a lot.
But I hear that she spoke very good English.
We speak English at home.
Yeah. Oh, you do?
Yeah, I have to relax. When I'm at home, I want to relax and just be myself. In all other circumstances, unless I'm doing stand-up, I speak Norwegian.
Does she relax when she speaks? It sounded like she was very... comfortable. Have you been? Does he speak better English now than?
She speaks much better English now than when we first met. I actually, no joking, I had trouble understanding her when I first met her.
Her English?
Her English, yeah.
Oh. But do you understand my English? Or
oh yeah, you're fine.
Do you have to interpret?
You speak better now than she did when I met her.
Oh,
that's the truth.
That's a compliment. Or maybe you should. And you start calling me Snoopy.
So
we'll take it from there.
That's my Snoopy. That's where she got that nickname.
Okay.
For those of you who are listening, she's sitting in the corner patiently waiting for me to finish my foolishness here so we can go home.
That's her in the corner.
She hears. That's Snoop in the spotlight. Do I have to pay royalty fees if I use that melody? I think I do.
Yeah, but if you change the
religion
with confidence or something.
So you have other projects in the wind. You can't talk about all of them, but one of them is that documentary. I'm looking forward to.
I mean, we were actually supposed to start now in March. Yeah.
Good old COVID.
Yeah, put everything on ice. So, but I look forward to. I would rather. My idea was to make a series. Just follow the money, and you can go out on the Karl Johan the main road and give a guy 5 kroners, 20 kroners, and just follow the money, see where it ends.
But you would start with your own story, correct?
Yeah.
Or maybe that would be like a thread. Here I am being a director. Like a thread, maybe going through it or something.
Yes, I would like to do that. So. Yeah, and when I do that, I'm also then I've in a way, what do you call it? Then I've made a bit fun of myself being that naive, stupid guy.
Sure, yeah.
And when I've done that, then I can make fun of everybody as far as I want to go. So it's a smart thing to do.
I think it is. There's nothing worse than a stand-up comic who does not have that self-irony.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than that stand-up comedy who just craps on his audience but never approaches his own flaws. You know.
Sure.
Listen, I know you don't have much time, but I do want to ask you this. If we can go all the way back to the beginning of your artist career, because I look at you and I see a successful guy. You've got television, you've got stand-up, you're a writer, you're on my podcast, which is the pinnacle of success.
And some movies also. I had a movie last year which flopped, Swingers.
I saw
Nobody. Did you see it?
No, I'm sorry. I saw
of course you didn't.
I saw that it flopped.
Yeah, it flopped very big.
I Googled you.
And it was on the cinema here.
Yeah.
In Horten cinema. And I was, they wanted me to talk about a movie, how it was, where we played it in Latvia.
Okay.
Because it was cheaper there. And I had lots of friends during the first show because I was allowed to bring my friends to watch the movie. And all my friends said, wow, it's going to be a success, so many people here. And I said, yeah, but I've invited them. That was the 7th show. And at 9 o'clock, there were one person who was watching the same movie, an old guy with,
How did you feel? I don't want to ask that. That's a stupid question. How bad did you feel? Let me ask you that.
Oh, no, I think, just to work in a movie, the process and the idea of having
there was a success already then.
Yeah, just to being asked, even though it was a movie called Swingers, which was played in Latvia. I think I just like to, a bad movie, good movie, it doesn't matter. And we don't get so much royalties either. If there was a royalty question, a percentage, it would be different. But we get, I love Bruce Campbell, for example, from Evil Dead. And he's made so many bad movies. And I always wish that I would have the opportunity to make...
So the success of the movie lies in the legacy of just having made a movie.
For me, it is just regarding movies.
I get that. I do.
But I don't like to be in movies that are mediocre. Either they should be very good or very bad. But if they're bad, they must be like Bruce Campbell kind of bad. And Swingers was that.
Swingers was that. Well, congratulations.
Was a very bad
Congratulations
movie.
With Swingers.
And I've bought it on Viaplay, the internet. And sometimes when we have a fourth play, you call it home, I invite friends and I put on the movie, and everybody just make puke sounds and go away. And,
it's good to have fun. It's good. Well, there's that honesty that we were talking about.
But of course, I'm proud of my own work in it, and I love the work of the other guys also. So as long as we are honest and do our 100%, it doesn't matter if it's a crappy movie. I
get that. I feel that.
And I have done lots of other crappy projects also.
Well, but it's the project in itself that counts. I understand that. Yeah, the success. It's like I am with my music. Of course, I want people to listen to it. I'd like for a lot of people to listen to it. But for me, the success is in writing it and getting it recorded, and here it is.
Yeah, producing it, and I don't like that it's the DVD era is gone. When I was little, I was always dreaming about becoming a film actor, and going and count my VHS movies in the shelf. Yeah. Oh, look, I've got 1.5 meters of movies, and now the DVD era is gone. So it's a bit sad that the last things I've done is just digital up in the sky. Yeah. I would love to have that crappy movie in the hands. And
there's something about I guess I'm old school like that as well. Yeah.
Have something physical.
I have Spotify, but I hate the concept. It's unfair to the artist.
Yeah, I would love to have all that records myself. Yeah. Those 100 million records.
Yeah, on this one playlist alone, I've got over 200 songs. I would love to have the entire album, not just the song, but the entire album or CD in my hands.
The whole Spotify collection. Yeah. In a big, giant hole.
So you, what I was going to ask about was how did you get into this life of being an artist? You said when you were little, you were always thinking about getting into movies. Is that where it started, as a childhood dream?
Oh, yeah, but I don't think... I had the same dream as all the other kids, and still every kid wants to become a movie star, pop star or something. Sure. So, but I was very keen on, interested in writing my own jokes. So I wrote a lot of jokes, and I had some... other stuff, when you in the school, when you the chair, when you whip it,
when you lean,
not whip, lean, of course, not whip it. In Norwegian, whipping is something else. So lean it backwards, and I used to do that all the time, and sometimes I fell backwards, and I got comments from teacher and the other guys in the class. After I've done that a couple of times, I still love to lean as all children do, but I started to write small comments that if I fall, then I reckon the teacher is going to say this, and then I have this answer for her, and always this Wilhelm guy in the class, he always says that thing, and then I have a joke for him.
You were writing your routine, and you could improvise in the moment.
So and I had it 7 or 8 people, then he's going to say that, and then she will laugh like she does, and have a comment for everyone. And sometimes it clicked, all the 7 comments or 8 comments, they just matched perfect as a sitcom series. Yeah. And I loved that, and I started to develop that. And stand-up, I just made a phone call. Really? When I wanted to start, that's fun.
So is it open mic night, or did you actually get booked for a whole set?
I was actually, my plan was to start law school.
Oh, really?
And a friend of mine said that to finance the expensive law school, we can work as telephone sellers to sell stuff. Yeah. And I had some hunting magazines and stuff I used to sell. And I used to joke a lot in the telephone when I called people, because I had a recorder because I used to teach other newcomers to learn how to sell. So I started to, do jokes and this and stuff, and call people. And one of the guys I called was a comedian. So after I talked to her for a couple of minutes, she said, "Why don't you try stand-up? Stand-up, it would suit you." And I got a telephone number. So I called this guy, Jonny, his name is a stand-up kind of a godfather in Oslo. One of the first stand-up comedians, started in 1994. So
Jonny
Christiansen, Johnny K.
Yes. Johnny. Yeah, Johnny K. Yep.
So I called him, and he said that before you write anything, you should come and see what stand-up is, because I guess you've seen Raw or Delirious with Eddie Murphy, and that's not stand-up comedy. That's the highest level of stand-up comedy.
Right.
But maybe the reality bites you. Maybe you'll get another idea of what it is, actually. Yeah. And he was right. When I saw it, it was the worst thing I've ever seen.
So you saw somebody actually in front of the mic and they bombed?
Everybody. And the ones who didn't bomb, I didn't like the jokes. I thought, wow, I used to write that when I was 7-year-old,
so
leaning with my chair.
So you knew you had a talent for this?
Yeah, but I didn't know if I had a talent to dare to stand on the stage and tell it to so many people who've paid to watch you. So that was something I used many years to come by. But those jokes, it gave me a lot of confidence. So from Johnny's point of view, it was, I don't think you should start because it's not like Eddie Murphy stuff here. But when I saw it, I said, of course I have to do this because you all suck.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, it's a brutal art.
Yeah.
I've seen people get up there and bomb. Yeah. And while I feel bad for them, I can't help but feel very confident in myself.
Yeah.
Like you say, you know you can do better than that.
Yeah, and my explanation was suddenly from
that was
Switzerland.
Not Norwegian, that was not Pakistani, that was not...
It was 10% Scandinavian. My explanation of how I started and what I felt when I saw stand-up is the total similar to all the other colleagues that I've asked. Why did you start? And they got a phone, and Johnny said, it's often Johnny who is the puppeteer.
Yes.
You just come and take a look, and then you can decide. And they come and they see how crappy it is, and they start. So the motivation for almost every comic I know is that this is really bad. I should do something about it. And they do. And for each comic that comes, the standard becomes a little better. Often. And sometimes it goes the opposite way, but
I think I've gotten better each time I've gone on, but it hasn't always been accepted by the crowd because I'm still in that developmental stage where I'm trying to write an hour-long routine.
Yeah.
So I might, on one night, try a 10-minute block that's brand new, and it may not work.
No.
But I don't get my feelings hurt when I bomb. I can just say, okay, that didn't work. And then I'll analyze it. I'll listen to my dictaphone and make that decision. Is this something that I can write better?
Yeah.
Or is it just crap?
But you are also a fully developed, grown-up man. When I started, I was 22, and when I bombed, it was...
and that's exactly what I was going to get into because I have that confidence now. But when you started, how did you take it when you didn't do it?
I didn't take it good, but I took it always very private.
Okay.
I went to the toilet or went outside.
Right.
I never showed any feelings of how I took it because I was so ashamed. I thought that I've been leaning in my chairs from I was 6 years old and writing all these jokes.
Yeah.
And many of the other colleagues that I have, they've become stand-up comics not because of a dream. It's because they didn't come into that school or the car sales job didn't work out or impress someone. Almost everybody has this have never dreamt of it or dreamt of becoming a movie star, you know. But I've been working with it, so I was very ashamed when it didn't work. Even though I didn't brag about that, I've been writing jokes since I was little, but just for myself, you know, it was very.
Well, you have you have a pride in your work.
Yeah,
you are a true artist in that you have pride in what you do. So of course you're going to feel that when you don't do well, especially at a young age.
And another thing that is very important is that this is the only thing I can do. I am not capable of even throwing. A black garbage bag full of trash anywhere. I can't.
College education to fall back on.
No, nothing. So when the jokes didn't work, then it's. I don't think I even could work at McDonald's.
Right.
Because I'm. I'm like
I wanted so
clumsy
bad,
like Leslie Nielsen, and it's everything is just.
I wanted so bad to make a 7-Eleven joke, but I'm not going to do that.
Is that when? Yeah.
Do you know the? I don't know. See, and here's
I've heard a lot of 9/11, 7-Eleven jokes, but was that something?
In the States, when you talk about people working at 7-Eleven, you're going to talk about either an Indian guy or a Pakistani.
Yeah.
But see, it's references like that don't go over the same over here. And there's my challenge. My biggest challenge as a stand-up. I have my American reference, which would be funny to a crowd over there, but over here. I have to always keep it in mind. They don't have the same reference point. They're not American. They're Norwegian.
Interviewed with Barack Obama a year ago, and he was just talking in general about what kind of guys should be presidents. And said it should be guys with education and this kind of experience. You don't want to hire a 7-Eleven guy to be a president. And so that he was then referring to an Indian and Pakistani guy then.
Yes, he was, actually. Shame on you, Mr. President.
Mr. Trump, is that?
Shame on you, Mr. President.
Shame on you.
Listen, I'm going to call it quits. My tiny little wife back there is giving me the old evil eye. She is, look at her.
She's making fingers across the throat.
Yeah. Well, she can do better than that. She carries a knife, and she's real good with it. But
Snoopy carries a knife.
Snoopy carries a knife. Sounds like a song. Sounds like a rock song.
Snoopy carries a knife.
But listen, Zahid, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. A lot of people get embarrassed when I throw compliments on them, but
that's why I'm wearing the shades. But I didn't get any compliments, so I can take them off now.
No, but I truly respect you as an artist, not just as a stand-up comedian, but as an artist in its entirety with you, everything you do with movies.
Thank you very much.
And it's been my honor to have you on this podcast. It's been my honor to 2 times have shared the stage with you. Remember that time in Myeongdong?
Yeah, sure.
That was actually that was the best set that I ever did.
Yeah,
and I think
that was very good.
And thank you. And I thank you for that. I talk about Yonyada all the time about how he opened the door, but my number one inspiration for stand-up is you. Because you took the time, and I want people to know that you have such a good heart, not just with giving free money to the Pakistani ambassador, but you had such a heart that very first night before Myeongdong. That very first night, my very first time doing stand-up, and you took the time, you were sitting there preparing your own set. You had some new material that night, but you took the time to talk with me and tell me to take it easy and tell me to just be myself, and you told me it was okay to speak English. And that did wonders for me to get on there that first time.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
And make it through that first set. So I appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Very nice to hear.
And then when it came around again to that show in Myeongdong, I'm like, okay, I'm ready.
You nailed that night.
That is one of my better nights. Yeah. I've bombed a lot, but that was my best night actually.
And motivational to keep on.
Yeah. Well, I have so much more to do with stand up. I know you do, and I'm looking forward to seeing.
And would you then do Norwegian afterwards, or would you?
I think I am always going to do my act in English because it's the delivery that I know best.
And the commerciality.
The commerciality. I want to be able to, if I wanted to pick up and go over to England or go back home to the States and perform, I wouldn't have to change anything.
No, with the Norwegian set, you don't. Yeah, you just stuck in Drammen.
And I can see in the audience, there's some people that don't like me doing it in English. I can tell they're a little, but I'm sorry, that don't like me doing it in Norwegian. Sorry.
Or don't like you at all.
Quite possibly.
I think Norwegians are very, very excited about people speaking American.
They are, yes. Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. The overwhelming majority of people do like that I'm speaking English. Yeah. So I think I'm just going to stick with it.
Yeah.
But
maybe I should try English too.
Could you ever consider doing that?
I had to learn the English first. I can't speak like this because this is like a character. A funny character, It's some English, some Indian accent, some Pakistani, some Norwegian. Yeah. What is he?
What is this guy? Now, keep doing it in Norwegian, man, because you're doing it so well.
Thank you very much. And,
thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for letting me in your podcast.
My pleasure. You have an open invitation.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Thank you and goodbye.